Well, I'm not bugging out from an apocalypse. I'm not bugging out because there's a zombie apocalypse. I'm not bugging out because there's a EMP gone off. I'm not bugging out because I'm the last man on Earth. Many people have many reasons and they use that term bug out. And I'm just bugging out just to have a kind of a 2-night, 3-day out in the woods, recharge the batteries, have a good time, destroy some good food on the campfire. I actually got a stove as well on this camp. I've bought a petrol stove, Coleman one. I've had it for years and I've not used it, so it's going to be kind of fun. I've just filled it with petrol and it's going to light it and see what happens. There could be an explosion. So I'm out on a camp. Now some of my friends wanted me to use my Pro Force Rapid Hooped Bivi on the floor. I got backache. I got backache already thinking about it. Oh, I don't know. It's like, oh, I have got a backache thinking about laying in that thing tonight. Just want my hammock. I feel kind of naked. I feel like I feel like my friends kind of voted for the Bivi. It's like, why would they vote for that? I don't know. But anyway, so I'm just bugging out. I'm just like on a bug out. I just want to get away from everything. I think Windy may be coming out later on. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure he will come out. I kind of just have some good food. Nice couple days out in the woods. Danica, she wanted to see some of my cooking. I think she said I wouldn't let her go camping with her unless she'd seen me cooking. So I'll have to kind of wing that video, or wing that bit of the video, I think. Make it look good. Even if it tastes shit, say it tastes good. Because the chefs do that, don't they? Have you ever seen a chef in a kitchen? They just like, that's alright, and you know it tastes like shit. So I'm going to have to wing that part. So if it really does taste nice, I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to be honest. I'll just say if it tastes bad or it tastes alright. So I'm going to do that for her. So stay tuned, Danica. It could be an enchanted moment for you watching me cook. What else? Who else? What else was said? Did I have any questions from anyone? Can't think. I did have a few questions. I'll try and answer them as the video goes on, if you lot stay awake long enough to keep watching. Hooped Bivi. I'll show you a close-up inside that in a minute. Some stuff. I bought some really weird food with me this weekend, so it's going to be quite challenging. I've kind of just like stuff that I had in the freezer that I want to get rid of. It's like I got some pheasant breasts and venison. I got a pollock, a fish. I found some spuds. There's loads of spuds up in the field, so I got some spuds. I'm going to go and pick some kale. I've got kale growing. Bloody hate green shite, but I'm going to go and pick some of that because it's really good for you. I think it's one of the only cabbage family that you can really properly freeze. How true that is, I don't know. I got told that last night. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick some other wild edibles. There's quite a few wild edibles. I really feel like a cup of nettle tea, and right below me is a bed of nettles, which is really cool for me. That means I could stay here forever. I can kind of make some real nice nettle dishes. I'll do a nettle soup later. That's going to be pretty cool. Say Windy should be out later on. I'll let Windy set up, get all his kit together, and yeah, should be an interesting one. On this kind of bug out wild camp, I've kind of established something. I've been kind of wild camping now for kind of a good 25 years. I was also kind of teaching people how how to live long term out in the woods and survive and things like that, and I've just realised something, and I've never realised it before with kind of the thousands of trips that I've been on, is the good spots when you go camping, or where if you're going to bug out, the good spots is always at the back of the woods. Alright, so at the front of the woods, where it's really easy to get to, shit spots. Back of the woods, meaning 3 or 4 trips later, especially with camera gear, good spot. So it's kind of taken me 25 years to work out rubbish, walk miles, good. I kind of don't know how to turn that around. I'm just going to have to think about this, but I think of things like that. And that's really bothered me now, that all the good spots are always at the back of the woods, and all the bad, front. Easy access, front, rubbish. Hard access, good. It's just one of them things. So yeah, I'll show you around the around my setup. Kind of got a different sleeping bag as well. I'm using the Army Arctic sleeping bag. It's a good sleeping bag. I've got some neoprene mats and all types of stuff. I'll show you around the hooped bivy, and then I've really got to get on because I need to get firewood and stuff. So I'm going to be shafted for the night. So that's it. I need to get some food. I need to start picking stuff, foraging. Yeah, definitely, because there's not a lot of wood here. I'm going to have to drag that up, so all the firewood's going to be down that end of the woods as well, I think. I'll have to bring it up. So yeah, let's have a look around the hooped bivy. So this is kind of the Highlander Rapid Force. It's a 3 hooped bivy. You got the 1, the 2, the 3. Now, predominantly, you can use this tent either way. I use the back. This should be the front really, I suppose, but I actually use that for storage space, so I use the back edge of the tent. I wouldn't kind of use this for anything else, barring storage. You can use it for anything, and you can get in the tent either way, or the bivy, you can go in and out. The only downside with any hooped bivy or any bivy tents is they condensate in the night, and the easy thing to sort that out is to leave it all open. I kind of just leave the door open, just use the bug net, and I tend not to get the condensation. If you were to zip it up in really bad weather, you will find that you will get condensation in there, and there's not a great deal you can do about it. I do leave all the vents open. Underneath that I just put some neoprene mat which I dragged up the woods. And then inside, got the bug net. Inside, I've got my Arctic sleeping bag. There's predominantly 3 head torches in here. I use all 3 for different things. My phone on charge. A charging unit for that, just to put a booster charge in it, because I use some of that for filming. Pillow, and that's kind of it. And I've got this row mat as well, and some neoprene then, so I'm kind of well insulated off the ground, and that's where you'll lose most of your heat. It'll be just sucking out of you. The ground's really good at that. The row mats, I kind of see a hell of a lot of people struggling with these row mats, because when you roll them up, they'll naturally want to roll back, and it's I kind of noticed it a lot. And I actually showed a guy the other day who's been doing it for years, and I showed him how to do it. What you do is, when you unroll the mat, you roll it back the opposite way really tight, and then you let it go, and it'll go out dead flat. For any of you who didn't know that, so if you've got it rolled one way, roll it back the opposite way really tight, and then it'll just go dead flat. It is a memory foam. I could never understand why people were struggling with that, and then I just realised that they were doing it kind of wrong. So that's it, that's my sleep system. Normally I would put a tarp over the top of that as well, where this entrance is, so I was actually getting out, I'd be in the dry, but there's no rain forecast, so I'm not going to even bother with that. Kind of location isn't a bad area. I did notice this tree. If you notice that tree, it's a dead fall tree. And when I looked at it, I kind of calculated that this tree, if it does come down, it's going to kill me outright. So I don't really, I ain't going to know anything about it. So it's kind of a gamble. But a laughing joke on the side, it's actually going to swing that way slightly, which will put it onto them trees. And by which time, I assure you, I'll be well clear of it. I'll be outside of that bivy tent. But anyway, if I'm wrong, it will come straight down. He's a beauty. And that's the only downside. I may have to take that one down soon with a chainsaw, I think, and get rid of it. It's gonna be a nightmare if I want to keep camping here. Got a stream just down there, which runs down through. So I've got plenty of water here. And there's a nice little spot under there. I'm not sure what to do with that yet. Kind of thinking that maybe tomorrow I'll put a natural shower up there and leave it there as a permanent fixture underneath that tree. I may actually build that tomorrow. There you go. Quite a beautiful day out in the woods. So that's it. I'm going to crack on and get some of the old camp chores done. And hopefully in a minute I can get some firewood from somewhere. I'm going to start scouting around. Oh, this ain't good. So this is it. We are we're going to start cooking. Don't try this at home. So there we go. That's my mushy peas, mashed potato, my fish with some seasoning, and I've got to say, it actually really does taste alright. The fish is really nice. But that's not the credit to me cooking it. I think that's the credit to the fish itself. So there you are, Danica. That's my campfire cooking. Fantastic. I'm going to go off and enjoy this. So that is dinner done. Best dinner I've ever had. Questions. Question was, what stove am I carrying at the moment? I'm carrying the Bushcraft Essentials Titanium Extra Large. This one's the 100% titanium. The titanium one has got a steel base in it now, I think. All in all, great stove. I will do a review on it, I haven't yet. This is the stove that's in my 72-hour pack, because it's super lightweight, easy to start a fire in here, leaves no trace, and if it's really wet I can start a fire in here quite easily and then transfer it to make myself a bigger fire. So that's in there for that reason. Normally it's for me just to have a quick brew out in the woods, and I can kind of cook food and do whatever I need to do with it. Super fast, folding it away, perfect. So that's that. That's all done. The other question was from a prepper in one of the groups. Tinder card. Tinder card. Do I know what Tinder card is? And you're having trouble with it taking a spark from your ferrocerium rod. And there is a reason for that. I do know what it is. It's just card in wax, and I do carry it. It's the only form of carry that I actually carry in my 72-hour pack. My, you know, as a fire starter, really. I do carry a magnesium block, ferrocerium rod, potassium penangamate, and that's it. The mag block works really well for the difficult tinders that you want to light. The ferrocerium rod, pretty well much anything, if you know how to process what you're processing properly, you can get it to take a spark. Potassium is just a great all-round carry. You can sterilise water with it, signal in cold conditions with it in the snow. You can also use it for fungal infections, which you will get in a long-term survival situation. Inevitably you probably will, because you get it around your feet and you can treat yourself with that, so it's really good for that. And you can make fires with it, a chemical reaction if you like. So I do carry that. So why is it not taking a spark yours? Well, let's have a little lesson in it. And I do apologise to you guys that are more experienced. This is normally where I get a thumbs down in the video. It's like, come here to see a camping video. So whatever. Alright. So there we go. Triangle. We've got heat, fuel and oxygens all around. So we're going to add we've got the fuels. Doesn't want to light because we haven't created the IM. So actually there's four elements to fire, the fire tetrahedron. We need to have the right IM, a chemical reaction here for that to go to combustion. Right, so what we're going to do is surface area. That's what we need to do. We need to create this into surface area. So like you would your birch bark and your natural tinders, you just process this down more. Don't want to be cutting towards yourself with your bushcraft knives or any kind of knife really, because you will or you could slip. A lot of the experienced guys, knife handlers, kind of like to do that, but for you guys, another way I'm going to show you is away from you. Always cut away from yourselves, very gently. Create a surface area. There we go. Creating a surface area. I'm just processing this fuel. You do small feathers on it, do whatever you want with it. You can even use the back edge of your knife to scrape very fine stuff if you wanted to. I kind of don't bother with that, I just slice into it, make myself a bit of that effect. It's probably not going to be fine enough. I'll turn it around, do a little bit more this side, a little bit more, a little bit more, done. Down. There we go, and there you go. Ooh, put it out. I flipped it over. Effectively, I smothered it. There we go. Fire. That's how you get your tinder card to light. So there's that one. Chuck that one away. Knife right back in the sheath because I've finished with it and it can't hurt me no more in there. The other thing, for guys that use their hatchet, you can use your hatchet, yes, no problems at all with this. So if you're a hatchet person, you can use your hatchet. Unfortunately, my hatchet isn't the sharpest at the minute. It's been used quite heavily on this camp, which it normally is, and I should have taken the time to resharpen it. It's still sharp, but it's not as sharp as I'd like it to be. There we go, we processed that. The hatchet does some really fine stuff, which is kind of cool. Well, there we go, we got a little pole to go over. Kind of most sparkers come with a sparker. I haven't got one. There we go. So you can use your hatchet if you want to. And tinder card is great. It's just absolutely fantastic stuff. If it does get wet, just dry it off and you can still use it because of the wax inside it. So there you go. That's how you use tinder card. Nice quick one for you. It's easier for me to show you than it is to try and explain it. That's that. The other question is always going to be a difficult one, and I'm not really going to give you the right answer because people's opinions will always change, and that is, should I baton or baton my knife? Well, let's clear something up here, because different countries have different languages, different groups of people will use different terms, which I found out. The baton or baton is a stick. If you've got old school survival guides, or old school survivalist, like myself, we call it the twat bat. So when we say chuck us the twat bat, don't do what one of my mates do and say, oh, he wants you over there. Alright, we don't want your mate to come over, we want the twat bat, because that means we're ready to do some whacking. So that is the twat bat, baton or baton. Yeah, so that's that. I'm trying to think. Should I or shouldn't I do it? Easy answer, it's your knife. When it comes to wood v steel, I would expect steel to win. However, if it's going to break, it will break normally at the ricasso, and that's because of that on the back edge. That's where you have the problems. I find that using these for light work, splitting little, shouldn't be an issue. If you find yourself batoning, battoning your knife a hell of a lot, you're using the wrong tool. Get yourself a hatchet or an axe or whatever you fancy. They're around £25–30, any one you fancy. There's loads on the market. Your knife costs a lot of money unless you're using a Moore, of course, and the edges are a lot more delicate on a bushcraft knife, survival knife. Your axe that you gotta let rip with it and give it some stick on some logs, and it's more fun. I do realise, I learnt from a friend why people tend, if you see a lot of guys always battoning and batoning their knives, I do it on review videos just to see whether the blade can handle the stress. It's more for testing. If it's my own real knives like these, I don't baton or baton any of them. I may do some very small stuff if I've got the stove and I want to get it lit. Is most people scared to use a hatchet? And like my friend said, I don't, you know, a bushcraft knife will cut your finger, but unfortunately a hatchet cut your finger off, which is how he put the conversation. I was like, yeah, but if you learn how to use a hatchet safely and in a safe, controlled manner, it's as safe as using your bushcraft knife. It all comes down to experience and confidence. If you want me to do a video on the safe handling of a hatchet or an axe whatever, I've got no problems with doing that. I'll quite happily do it for you. Maybe a couple of weeks before I can get it done, but if you want to progress on to using an axe or a hatchet and you're not too sure, just let me know. No problems. Things like that, bushcraft basics, any basics, and there's no stupid questions. You can ask me anything, always here to help. I really am a great believer in people have to start somewhere, and some people want to go from here to advance and skip that, but in that there's a lot of bushcraft basics, and if you don't do them you can't get up here. So the other question was on bug out bags and exposure to the elements, and there is what's my preferred shelter. My personal opinion, I would use a hammock in a bug out bag. Personal opinion. The professional answer and professional opinion to that would be make sure you take a tent or a really good shelter in your bug out bag. And the reason for that is you cannot beat that 100% 360 protection. Somewhere you can put up a 3-man tent, you can put that up in a couple minutes, especially if there's 2 of you, and you can get right in, do the doors up, job done. So the professional opinion, if you were asking me as an instructor, would be always make sure you've got a really good tent inside your bug out bag and a good sleeping bag really. Bug out plans and bugging out was another question, and I get asked emergency preparedness questions a lot. That's just through to my job really, and you know what, I look at a lot of people's plans, and bugging out to the woods is kind of very common now because of YouTube, and you've got a lot of groups that are formed and they've got these big fantasies about doing that. And I look at some of them, and I have been looking at a lot of their stuff recently just through a work project that I'm doing, and they have this massive fantasy, these groups, and unfortunately they're kind of misleading a lot of people. Normally if you've got a bug out from your area, it'll be through adverse weather conditions. That will be the main reason why. So your first point of call should be somebody that lives in maybe a neighbouring town where you know that flooding, weather front, tornado isn't going to affect. So you literally are bugging out from your bug out location with your bug out bags and go to that location where you will be safe, and you could spend a couple nights at your aunt's, whatever. You didn't need to bug out to the nearest woods where you're going to be uncomfortable, wet, surviving. So that should be your first plan, is where am I going to stay if my immediate dwelling becomes affected, and it needs to be outside of it in another town somewhere out the way. So it should be your first consideration. Realistically, I think most preppers off of YouTube and off of their group talks would probably do that anyway. They'd be on the phones. Yeah, can we spend a couple nights for you, me and the kids or whatever? Yeah, that's right. The house is underwater at the minute. That does happen. When should you bug out? You know what? With kind of advanced stuff now and the media and stuff like that, I think it's a close call. It's your decision. I would bug out as soon as I possibly knew something was going to be happening, because that makes sense to me. If they're forecasting heavy rain, flooding, blah blah blah, your area is likely to flood, I'll just shut the doors, go and stay with some friends somewhere outside of that affected zone. If nothing happens, oh well, I've had a nice kind of couple days visiting family. If I have to bug out to the woods, please remember, just bugging out to the woods probably ain't going to happen. You're setting yourself up to failure, so make sure you expose yourself to that environment as much as you can. If that is part of your bug out plans, make sure you do them plans and make sure you know exactly what you're doing. You should be able to, your bug out bag should be able to sustain yourself, and if you've got young kids, your bag should also be able to help them sustain themselves. So you need to be a bit more cleverer the way you pack your bag. It can be done very easily. So that's it, that was the questions. I hope that answered a few questions for you. Run out of battery on the camera, done quite a lot of filming this weekend. So that's it. Well, that's it from me. I've got to pack up. Back's killing me. Backache. Back. Oh. 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 Come on. Come on. That's what I look like on that. That's what I look like in the morning. So yeah, that's it. Out in the field. Coffee. That's coffee on the best cooking on this video, best coffee. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Happiness to you all. And thanks to my friends who voted for me to sleep in this food Bivi for 2 nights. You guys are all amazing. I'll see you all on the next one. Time for me to pack up. Go.